Team colors. When Ray stumbled in for Pop-Tarts, Grandpa studied his scraggly bangs. "Morning, Sleepy Bones. With that mess of mop, you'll never be able to see the ball coming." Ray's team, the Bobcats, was scheduled to play its arch-rival, the Rockets, later that day. The Rockets boasted the league's powerhouse pitcher, and since Ray had enough trouble at bat, he wasn't much looking forward to the game. "We're due for a trip to Bud's barber shop." Ray agreed, pushing the scraggly hair out of his eyes. "Overdue," Grandpa answered. "Good thing Bud's not fussy about appointments." Ray and Grandpa trapezed down the cracked sidewalk of Steel and Stone City. The day was shaping up to be a scorcher, but a friendly breeze blew by. Ray spotted an orange tabby kitten snoozing in the window of Murphy's Family Antiques, a fresh coat of paint dressing up the bus stop, and an ice cream truck playing "Pop Goes the Weasel." He couldn't wait to see the barber pole, climb into one of the beat-up swiveling chairs, and listen to the talk of the Cubs in the city hall. Ray could almost smell Bud's stinky cigars. "Barber shop's one of the last places a man can go to be a man," Grandpa said, just like always. Ray thought about how Aunt Wilhelmina would say that kind of talk was old-fashioned foolishness, but he kept quiet. He liked being counted in with the men sometimes. Ray liked everything about Bud's barber shop, even though he and Grandpa hadn't moseyed in since the spring thaw. Grandpa Half Moon and Ray rounded the corner and looked up the street. Their jaws dropped like hooked fish. The barber pole was gone. The Bud's barber shop sign had been replaced with one that said "Coiffures by Claudia," and that wasn't the half of it. When Ray peeked in the window, he saw that the beat-up swiveling chairs had been replaced with shiny mauve ones. The customers in the ball caps had been switched for ladies with long, colorful nails. And when a lady with foo-foo hair opened the glass door to leave, Ray couldn't smell the usual stinky cigars. Instead, out came the sweet smell of rose potpourri. Ray didn't even think about walking into Claudia's, and neither did Grandpa. Ray glanced at his watch. It was already noon, and they had to leave for the game at 2:30. "Now, what are we going to do?" he asked. "It's too late to track down another shop," Grandpa said. "Most places are booked solid on Saturdays, but don't worry, I've got a plan." Back at the house, Grandpa fetched the scissors and a towel. Ray sat down in the kitchen chair and draped the towel over his shoulders. "You've heard me tell about my wild hair catastrophe," Grandpa Half Moon said, setting a salad bowl on top of Ray's head. "Oh no, not a salad bowl. Every once in a while, I trim the hair out of his eyes. Everybody said it looked right professional. Oh no, this is not going to end well, I can tell you, boys and girls." As Grandpa cut Ray's hair, the prickly ends tickled his neck. To keep from squirming, Ray studied the baseball schedule held by banana-shaped magnets to the refrigerator. He daydreamed about facing down the Rockets pitcher and the cast smack, hitting a home run. Before long, Grandpa Half Moon took off the bowl and studied his handiwork. Now let's look at this picture again. Can you see where the bowl was? Grandpa said, "Looks a mite lopsided to me." Ray tried not to worry as more hair fluttered onto the hardwood floor. He tried not to worry about Grandpa's normally calm face, drew up into a perplexed frown. But then, after too long of quiet, Grandpa finally stopped and said, "Don't you fret, we'll fix this." Oh no. At that, Ray jumped to his feet and scrambled to the bathroom mirror. His hair looked like it had been hit by a runaway weed whacker. Big chunks lay choppy, like mismatched puzzle pieces. Here and there, a piece stuck straight up or sideways in the air. "What am I going to do?" Ray asked. "Now I said don't fret," Grandpa answered. "Ever heard of a crew cut?" Ray shook his head. "It's short, he explained, like I wore in the service, but we'll need an electric shaver to do it right." Ray didn't know what to think after crew cut. No, what didn't know what to think about crew cuts, but he was ready to try anything. He listened to Grandpa Half Moon as he called the store down the street. Near as Ray could figure, the store was all out of shavers until a new shipment came in next week. "Well, that's too bad," Grandpa was saying. "I guess we'll try something else." One errand later, Ray sat back on the kitchen chair for a couple of washes, applications, rinses, and dyes. Finally, he scrambled back to the bathroom mirror. Ray squinted at his hair, parted straight down the middle, one side in neon purple and the other side in neon orange. Team colors, Ray thought. The idea had sounded a lot better when Ray'd come up with it than it looked in the mirror in front of him. As Ray hurried to dress for the game, he wondered what Coach Onus and his teammates would say. Maybe, he thought, I'll just keep my cap on. Just then Ray heard Coach Onus's SUV honk from the driveway. It was time to go. "Good luck," Grandpa said, deciding not to ride along for the first time ever. "I'll take the L and meet you there. I just have one more thing to look after today. You show those rockets what for, though. You hear?" Ray hoisted himself into the back seat of the coach's SUV, and his heart slid right down to his toenails. After all that had happened, he couldn't believe Grandpa wouldn't be there to cheer him on at the big game. But Ray waved goodbye and grinned so Grandpa wouldn't know how upset he was. Ray kept quiet as Dalton Wang and Lewis Wilson tumbled into the back seat beside him, and he kept quiet as Coach Onus drove them all out to the ballpark. He grumbled under his breath when Lewis asked about the suspicious-looking hair showing around the plastic fastener at the back of his cap. Once they reached the ballpark, Ray plopped down on the end of the team bench. As of the third inning, the Rockets pitcher had thrown his best game all season. Dalton's pop fly was nabbed by the catcher, and everybody else on the Bobcats team, including Ray, had quickly struck out. The score was 7-0 Rockets. As the fifth inning drew to a close, sunshine heated the team's bench like a toaster oven. Grandpa Half Moon still hadn't shown up. The score was 12-0 Rockets. The Bobcats team hadn't put a single player on base. Their fans had pretty much wilted in the stands. So far, Ray had managed to keep his colorful hair hidden. He'd even kept on his cap under his helmet both times up at bat. But finally, sweat started trickling into his eyelashes. "Everybody'll see my head sooner or later," he decided, peeling off his cap to wipe his face dry and then raising his sports bottle for a drink of lukewarm water. As Ray lowered the bottle, he realized his fellow Bobcats were staring at his neon orange and purple hair. At least Ray thought. Nobody's going to notice the haircut. "Hey, look at that!" Dalton exclaimed. "Your hair is the team colors." "Ray, you're up," Coach Onsi said. "Let's see what you can do with with some team spirit." The team cheered as Ray left the dugout, his neon purple-orange hair in full view. As he slipped his batter's helmet on, the Bobcat fans in the stands joined in. They clapped, stomped, and chanted his name. "Ray, Ray, Ray, Ray." Ray smiled at the Rockets pitcher, but lifted his chin to say he meant business. The Rockets pitcher gave him a puzzled look in return. "Ray," Lewis called from the bench. "Ray, isn't that your grandpa?" It sure was. As the sixth inning began, Grandpa Half Moon took his usual seat right behind the team bench, removed his baseball cap, and waved it high to show off hair decorated in the same neon purple and orange as Ray's. "Hey," Coach Onsi called, "that's what I call a fan. The Bobcat crowd cheered twice as loudly. The top rows hollered, "Purple!" The bottom rows answered, "Orange!" Grandpa Half Moon kept waving his cap. The rocket's pitcher got so distracted that he threw high, he threw wide, he threw low, he threw too close. The umpire called, "That's a walk." As the Bobcats roared, Ray dropped his bat, pumped his fist in the air, and started jogging. He waved at Grandpa with one hand and pointed to his head in the other. Grandpa Half Moon waved his cap higher and shouted with the other fans. Ray heard him yell "Purple!" and Ray heard him yell "Orange!" and then Ray's soul touched first base.